Welcome back to the show. There's no telling where we'll go. So come and share a laugh on the Imp and Skizz podcast.
Are we famous?
No.
No, I don't think so.
I don't.
I mean, it's not an absolute.
That's a weird thing to think about, though.
Well, it is. So here, let's get right into how weird of a topic this is, because it's very tongue in cheek. What we're talking about today, we're really talking about just the energy of what fame is. We should probably describe what we think it is. So we have our identifier on.
Should probably have looked up the definition of famous.
Yeah.
To start this, that would have been a good idea.
I almost kind of want to.
Okay, we're gonna look it up.
I don't know where my
I have
phone is.
I have my phone. I'll
Yeah,
look it up.
you
You keep talking, Skizz.
So he's going to look it up.
Yeah,
So here's
yeah.
what we're going to do. We're going to, we want to talk about this in regards to the dynamic of what fame is, because it's very fascinating. And there's sort of a needle here, right? In regards to my own definition, which we'll get the official one in a second here. But there's 0 is not famous at all. And 100 is like crazy famous, like Taylor Swift. That's going to be, I'm going to go, Taylor Swift is going to be, because there's no way she can go anywhere, right? You know exactly what she looks like. Everybody knows exactly what she looks like. And she's going to stick out in any crowd, and the whole world knows what she looks like. And I know it's not the whole world, but you know what I'm getting at here. And so that is the 100. Okay, Taylor Swift is, and I know there's a lot of hundreds. Tom Cruise
the top
is
of the
100.
bar, Tom Cruise, Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
100.
those are the hundreds, right?
And then the bottom is like you could literally walk in front of every person on the earth
the planet.
Like what if it's like you have a friend, you have lots of friends, and your friends recognize you? Does that make you famous within the friend group?
No, I don't think so. That's a great thing. I think that to be famous, to be even in the radar famous, there needs to be X amount of people who know things about you that really only friends should know. I mean, I don't know how else to put it.
Okay,
but
let's give the definition here.
All right, go.
According to Google, a famous person is an individual widely recognized, known, or esteemed by the public, often garnering significant media attention or holding prominence in fields like entertainment, sports, or politics.
Okay, now right from that definition right there, I would argue, no, we are not famous, you and I.
Widely recognized.
That's right.
Media,
right?
You know,
we're
not a lot there.
recognized.
Yeah.
We can go to the store and not get we get recognized in public, sure, but it's extremely rare. Like it's very few and far between. However, you go to a concentrated environment for us, like TwitchCon, or when they used to have Minecon, and now we're widely recognized. You know what I mean? But it's in a concentrated group of people.
With people that share the same like niche, the same hobby, that kind of thing. So if somebody asked me, I would say I'm semi-internet famous within my niche. That's kind of like my elevator spiel pitch of like how I consider myself. Because you're right, when we go to TwitchCon or Minecon, you know, we get a line of people that want our autographs and stuff, and that makes me feel uber famous.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah,
but then we walk out the door and go down the street to the store, and
right
like,
out the door on the other side of this wall. I'm no longer famous.
It's completely different. Like I mean, how often do you get recognized in like public, in like random places in public? Is it often?
It's not often. It's like maybe once every 6 weeks or something. It's
I was gonna say about once a month for me.
Yeah, it's super rare, right? And you know what's crazy is that sometimes they happen closer together than you would think, you know, and that's what's weird to me. And I remember it was so funny is that some friends of mine, some very good friends of mine, when they talk to their friends, when they introduce me to, you know, their friends that I'm meeting for the first time, and if their friends are like, so what do you do? And I'm like, it's like a goofball on the internet or whatever. And my friends are always like, he is so humble and it's annoying. They're like, he's like crazy YouTube famous. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm gonna be very honest here. No, I am not. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then they look at my numbers, and for people who don't play in this field, they're like, whoa. And I'm like, I promise you that is nothing. I promise. And I was having this discussion with a bunch of people at dinner. We were in Colorado, and as we're talking, the waiter comes up. He's like, are you Skizz? And I'm like, yes. And he's like, dude, I'm a huge fan. And everybody at the table's like, oh my God, it's happening. It was so funny. And he was super cool. And then he left, and I'm all, that really, really rare. You know what I mean? It's like, that is not supporting my case right now. That was very, very rare. So it was a kind of an apropos time, but it was working against my conversation that no, I'm not. I can go anywhere, and you can go anywhere. Yeah. We can go anywhere. Even somebody, let's do this. Even somebody like Mumbo, who's in this niche, as famous as they get, can likely go to the store just fine.
I would probably say if we're getting recognized 6 weeks, month, whatever, Mumbo is probably weekly.
Maybe once a month,
at
a
least,
week.
Yeah.
Right. So let's think of it like,
I don't know.
I would like to know actually. And he is extremely recognizable.
Oh yeah. Cause he's like, you can't miss him. He's
you
so
can
tall.
see him from here.
Yeah.
Like he's 100 feet tall.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he's, I kind of want to ask him now to figure that out, you know, but
yeah. You're right about it being like, it happens in kind of groupings as well. Cause I remember I went on this trip to Seattle cause we were going to do a cruise that was out of Seattle. And like, I got recognized by the person at the front desk of the hotel, who, you know, came by later when we were like having like dinner or whatever, and told me they knew who I was. And then we got on the cruise, and then like 3 people on the cruise recognized me. So it was like 4 times in the span of a week that I got recognized. And
then how much time went on after that?
And then, after I got off the cruise, and then it was a long time before.
It's weird.
And then I was at, you know, my daughter plays volleyball. So I was at like a volleyball game one time, and one of the girls from another team came by, and they had like a TCG card in their backpack and stuff. Like it was like they were prepared to meet me that day. It was weird. But they came up to me and they were like, you know, hey, big fan. Any chance you could sign this card or whatever? And like, meanwhile, I had not shared what I do with any of the other parents of the girls on the team. And so this girl comes over, wants to, you know, get a selfie, get my autograph and stuff, which was fine. And all the other parents are looking at me like, what is going on over there? And so then I had to explain. And now they all think it's like so cool.
I
you
know.
That like every time, you know, we're on a new team this year now, and people were talking about internet stuff, and one of the moms from last year that knew I was who I am was like, "You're talking to this guy? He's a famous YouTuber." And I'm like, "No, I'm not. Calm down. I'm not." And then all of a sudden, it's a very interesting topic, and I get it. Like we're in an interesting field. Like this is a very crazy profession. It's still very new to the world.
Yeah,
and so there's this kind of inflated idea of like what famous is when it comes to YouTuber and the internet and all that kind of thing. I think, you know, or maybe we're in delusion because
we are.
I don't know.
I don't know. Well, let's unpack that, because famous has evolved over time, right? And I experienced something. So I was on the other side of the country at my daughter's place when she, you know, because she's going to school over there. And the whole team was having like a gathering, and my one of her teammates had a younger sister that was apparently a pretty big fan, and they were like, she's kind of nervous, but she's hoping that she can get a picture with you. I'm like, absolutely, and so she did, and it was the same story. I could tell that parents were like, what is happening? What is this? You know what I mean? And I'm like, and it's so hard to explain, but let's talk about that, because the reason it's hard to explain is because I don't feel like I'm famous. I don't know if you feel like you're famous, but I don't. I never go out and I'm worried about getting recognized ever. And I shouldn't use the word worry, but it's never even on my mind. You know, I go wherever, and when it happens, it's delightful. You know, so far every person's been, you know, very, very kind, and it's been great. It's great. It's whatever. It happens so infrequently that it's something I literally don't think about. Well, we are living in an era to where anybody technically can get famous at home,
right? Because
that's where technology has brought us to, where we can turn our houses into little studios and stuff. Well, let's go back several decades. Famous was not going to happen unless you were in front of a big rig or a big team or a big production. And to get there was a brutal fight. And the amount of the nepotism was and is very, very real.
Good Old Boys Club was a big thing.
You had to know.
And we're not
somebody.
talking about like TV. Also, like same thing goes for music, musicians,
movies, anything entertainment based. Yeah. It was who do you know? I think that I think it came down to 3 things, like everything, right? Who do you know? How lucky are you? And how hard are you willing to work, right? And it's all 3 of those sort of needed to line up, I think, you know. But these people back then, they were crazy famous. And the reason, if you think about it, is because not so many people were famous anymore. Like there was the bank of people who were famous. When you go back to like old black and white movies and stuff, and you're going to the old school stuff, the bank of people who were famous was so small that it could be argued they were super famous because there was less of them to look at. And so when they were in the public eye or whatever, there's a reason that young girls were fainting, literally fainting when the Beatles would show up. They were they were seeing them for the first time. They were going from a black and white, terrible picture of what they had made up in their mind of what the Beatles, of what, Harrison looks like. And they're moving that into, they're right in front of me and they're fainting because it's a whole different dynamic there. And that's another piece of this I want to talk about is all the different levels of fame in regards to some of the things that I'm going to be honest. I kind of want to dig right into it. Something I don't really like. I don't like child fame. And I don't want to say it. I absolutely don't like it. I think I'm very, very worried about, I'm very protective of children, right? I'm extremely neurotic and I don't trust like Hollywood and stuff and what happens to some of these younger actors and stuff. And it scares me. It scares me on their behalf. And I'm very afraid for them. And I'm worried that nobody's looking out for them. I could be wrong about this, but I'm worried nobody's looking out for them. And they are experiencing fame at a very young age. And how do you process that?
Yeah.
What are they doing?
That's got to be tough. Cause like, even in our level, I remember like when my channel and stuff was starting to do well, how as much as I wanted to like stay humble and all that kind of stuff and like and be normal, I guess, like it gets to you a little bit, you know what I mean? Like you get that little bit of like, oh, you puff out your chest, I'm somebody, and you feel it just a little. Like I kept it pretty well under control, I'd like to think, but like I can't imagine not having, if you had zero like restraint, not as much restraint as you would a younger person, like that would get to you, and you would just like feel like you could break every rule, you could do whatever you want, like you were untouchable. Invincible. Like I felt, do you remember when you were younger, like under 20, maybe between the age of like 16 and we'll say 22 or something like that, where like you kind of felt invincible? Like you did a bunch of stupid stuff and you're just like, like I'm going to live forever and it's going to be fine. Like imagine that, but like with all this money and power and fame and everything, at that young, impressionable age, and some of them even younger. And we've heard horror stories of child actors, like you said, like 9-10-year-olds that just can't handle it. Yeah. And the things that they went through afterwards. There was Drake, I think his name was.
Drake Bell?
Yeah, he came out with a big story. I think I watched the documentary.
That's sort of who was on my mind when I was talking about, I'm worried about who's looking out for these kids.
Yeah, he went through some stuff and he's not alone. There's a ton of examples out there.
Like people like Corey Feldman. And here's the deal. It's like, I almost feel a little bit reluctant to talk about this subject, but so I want to give a disclaimer here that I do not have any sort of deep research underneath my belt on this one. I just have what I've seen over the past many years. And Feldman has been calling out Hollywood in their treatment of kids for decades, dude, a long time. And everybody wrote him off like he's just a kook because he conducts himself a little odd, you know what I mean? But he's been talking about this for a long time. And now these stories are coming out of the woodwork and it's very scary. You know what I mean? Am I suggesting that all of Hollywood is awful to kids? Of course not. Of course not. But the fact that anybody of influence can be in charge of kids and have a dark mind is, I am not loving it. You know what I mean? So the Drake Bell thing happens and you're just like, I have two choices because I saw the doc you're talking about. This was quite on the set, I believe, right? You have two choices. Either you can believe him or you cannot believe him. And the stories he was telling didn't seem made up.
Right.
And I could be wrong here. You know what I mean? I could. He could be lying. I don't think he is. And I'm watching this and I'm getting furious. And that is when I started to think like, fame is giving, it's almost a currency at this point. Do what I say or I'm going to ruin you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. This is some of the power that they have. And your whole thing about your fame and your future, gone. You'll never work again. Stuff like that. Like, and the do what I say part is not come be in my movie. It's very dark stuff, right? So they're using fame as a currency now. And that's another whole topic entirely, but I get worried about these kids. And I'm not like, again, I'm not suggesting everybody in Hollywood has a dark mind. I'm not saying that for a second. I'm saying that there's enough that it caught my attention and it got me thinking about child actors. Amanda Bynes is another one, right? She was, I don't remember. She did some show on, I think it's Nickelodeon, right? I don't know, whatever. She was a young child actress. And then you see her today and it's like something happened in that journey that may have nothing to do with fame for all I know, but something happened that changed her so drastically that she's unrecognizable. And that's very, very scary to me. There's when people's fame falls off. And I don't know what to make of that. And it's a little scary. Some of them end up like on the streets and stuff, dude.
Yeah.
Is nothing a sure deal? Like they're on, like these kid actors are on these shows and then they're like homeless. And that's like, what is happening in the world of fame that is kind of misdirecting people so much that they can't seem to stay on a set of rails.
Do you think the attention you get from fame, you know, the likes, the clicks, all that stuff, do you think it's like a drug to some people, right? And some people, you know, try a drug in their life and they're like, no, not for me. And they handle it. And some people go off the deep end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Be.
And fame might be not too dissimilar when it comes to like, you're going to get dopamine hits of, you know, when you're you're getting media attention, when you're getting attention even online in our space, you know, when I don't know, do you feel it? Like when you're doing well, you know, you're on cloud 9, and then when you're not doing well, it's, you know, bottom of the barrel, you know, it's depression and stuff. And I suppose like, and we're on a small scale, right?
We're
like
on a very small scale.
We're on a small scale.
Good.
So now take that and blow it up by 10-fold, whatever, 100-fold, whatever. And imagine the kind of like dopamine you get and the kind of lows you're going to have and the everywhere in between. So they're on quite a ride, and especially at a young, impressionable age. I can't imagine how they would even go about handling that without very good either parental supervision or some kind of supervision of some sort that is taking care of them like 24/7. You know,
I think if I'm not mistaken, so Miley Cyrus, who her fame came as when she was Hannah Montana, and her dad is Billy Ray Cyrus, right? And she was set up for some serious success because her dad's Billy Ray Cyrus. Her like mentor in all things singing was Dolly Parton. Like this is you're set up, and not to mention she's incredibly talented. So she was going to be something big. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Billy Ray Cyrus was on set like for I think he acted in the show, but I think he was also like, there's no such thing as my daughter being here and I'm not here. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong about that, but I was like, yep, that's exactly how I would be. You know what I mean? And here's what's funny is my daughter, who is extremely beautiful, when she was, and I'm not just saying, I know this is I know this as a fact, like it's kind of a dad's worst nightmare type thing. But when she was very young, she was like, I don't know, she's always been beautiful. But like when she was really young, there was something, I don't know, different about it in regards to her. Because when you're little, your eyes are bigger in your head, and her eyes are like, you know, that really translucent blue. So there was a real popping going on, right? And like as a baby, and then as she got, you know, as a toddler and stuff. And I don't remember how this happened, but there was like a talent agency that wanted her to be part of something. And I don't remember what it was. So like, we noticed your daughter, it was when she was doing swim or something. I don't know. Anyways, they wanted to get her involved in their thing. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I started to inquire about the things that they wanted. And it got very clear to me that they wanted her involved, but they did not want dad around, right? And I'm not a helicopter parent, right? But it was one of those things where I was like, well, they're like, you know, you can drop her off or whatever. I'm like, no, I'm gonna be there. And they're like, well, we really need to have talent where, you know, we can work with the parents. You know what I mean? As in the parents understand what we do here and they don't have to be a part of it. I'm like, well, then she won't be a part of it. Like, it was one of those things that was like, she's a little girl. She's like 6. You think I'm going to drop my 6-year-old off and just not see what you got? Are you insane?
Yeah,
you know
crazy.
what I mean? And I was just like, and they were like very abrupt in regards to like, you're taking away opportunities from your daughter. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm like, you're out of your mind. And it got me thinking, like, how many people are falling for this? Like, how many people are doing this? And I'm not saying that they were up to no good, but there was something weird about it, you know? And it
does feel weird. Yeah. I would definitely be on edge about that. And
yeah.
Probably the answer is no. The same choice. Like, no way.
There's just no way. The answer is no, I'm not doing that. And so, and I think, and that's the other thing is that, you see these kid stars where sometimes it feels like the fame is so addictive that it is addictive by proxy, to where now their parents are sort of living vicariously through them type thing. And you hear these horror stories of their parents, you know, stealing their fortunes and not looking out for their best interests and stuff like that. And I'm like, is fame really, like, I think you may have nailed it. It's a drug.
I don't know a lot about the situation, but like Britney Spears and the conservativeship, and like, wasn't there something going on with like her parents, her dad taking things from her?
Yeah,
I don't know.
like they owned her something. I don't know. I'm with you on that.
There was a lot going on. And Britney Spears is another example, you know, like went through some stuff and obviously affected mentally and stuff from it.
Yeah.
Hope she's doing well now, but you see this stuff like all the
Scary.
time. Yeah.
And I think you're right. I think it's kind of like a drug, and it puts people on tilts, and it kind of messes with people. And hey, Impulse, we have to entertain that we would be no different. And we just haven't had to deal at that level. We haven't, you know, we feel a little bit of fame when we are in a concentrated environment. Outside of that, we feel next to none of it. So it could be argued that we don't have any clue, none, on what it is, because I've never been famous enough to where I can snap my fingers and get anything I want at any time. And maybe that power would absolutely consume me. I would really like to think I have more self-control and more class than that. I don't know, but
I don't know. I don't know, man, because like, as I said, like I had a moment of realization, whereas I felt like, you know, as things were going well for me, I was starting to slip into a person that I didn't like. You know what I mean? Like I started to have just a little enough to be like, yeah, you're kind of acting like
a pompous ass.
Yeah, exactly. Like you think you're all that in a bag of chips. Yeah. Like, and you're acting like it, and you're acting like a jerk. You know what I mean? I got to check myself, you know? And so I had that moment of realization, and I was like, it would have been easy to not check myself and just, you know, and that's a small scale. Blow that up and not check yourself.
Yeah.
And you're going to do crazy things. You're going to roll your SUV while you're on some sort of painkiller. As we've seen like Tiger Woods going through lately. You know what I mean? Like, it sucks to watch, because you know at the heart of it they're probably like really good people and just lost control. You know, as people do. You know.
Yes, and I find it very interesting on. Okay, this is great. Let's talk about uber famous people that seem to be very, very grounded. Keanu Reeves. Like, he's so grounded, there's almost something wrong there, right? Like, he lives on next to nothing. And my understanding is the amount of money he gives to charity is like an obscene, like he lives on very little from what I understand. He still takes the subway. He's still like a gentleman. Like when somebody needs a seat or whatever, like he just seems like a very grounded person. And then let's go to the other end of the spectrum, somebody whose fame has kind of put them in a space in their head that, in my mind, I think is pretty delusional. And I first of all, I'm not throwing shade here, because I love him as an actor, but Jack Nicholson is, you know, he's a huge Lakers fan, and there's literal footage of him coming out of his seat because he has courtside and onto the court to argue with the refs. And it's just like, get out of here. Who do you think you are? Like,
wow.
What are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, that's the type of stuff where I think my mind, because we know I'm very interested in psychology. And when I hear of that happening, when I see that happening, I have no choice but to be like, that is very fascinating. I'm not even annoyed that he did that. I am fascinated, because something told him that his lot in life gave him some sort of pass to do whatever you want. This is an NBA game. These are the best of the best basketball players. You're here to watch them play. And you walked onto the court to talk to the ref.
Yeah.
Is this real life?
Anyone else would be ejected from the building and banned for life.
Maybe that's the problem. He wasn't.
Right.
From what I know. And did his feet get on the court? I'm pretty sure. I have to look at the video again, but maybe he wasn't. And to that end, maybe he's not crazy. Maybe he's right. You know what I mean? Yeah. So he got up, and maybe the ref knew if I eject him, I'm going to lose my job. So maybe Jack Nicholson is not delusional. Maybe he did it because he knows he can.
Yeah. You ever see the video of, I think it was Reese Witherspoon getting pulled over, and she pulled the, do you know who I am kind of card.
I did not see that.
And they just like weren't having it. And they're just like, whatever. So what? You're famous or whatever.
Yeah,
like you still can't break the law.
You can't break laws. Because, yeah, exactly.
Justin Timberlake also had a DUI recently that they busted him on. I'm not sure how that came out. Like he might have ended up not having much come out of it, even though most people would be like, at least license suspended, maybe some time behind bars.
Yeah.
Like definitely it does feel like they're being enabled in a lot of ways because they get away with stuff they shouldn't be getting away with. We see it time after time, and it's like, what message does that give that you can get to a point to where you're quote unquote above the law? That's scary.
I know.
Right?
I know. But that is the message that it's giving. If they're getting away, if for example, I didn't know about the Reese Witherspoon. I don't know about that, but
I think it was her.
And let me be very clear here. If it sounds like we're throwing shade at celebs, we're not. We're not doing that.
No, just making a point of, it's like, observation. Like, that they're doing things that most normies can't get away with. Yeah, but yet they do.
Yeah, there's a clip out there somewhere of this dude. I don't remember what the band was, but he's a singer of the band, and there's a concert, and he's walking up the stairs to get to the stage, and security stops him. And security, she's like, you can't go up there. And he's like, well, I'm the singer. And another security guard's like, let him go. That's the singer. She's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And he's like, no, don't apologize. And he goes, thank you for doing your job. Like, it was like such a humble moment where I was just like, no matter how you slice it, there are celebs that would have really given some serious attitude. You know what I mean? Just get out. You know what I mean? Like, fire this person or whatever. There are celebs that feel that way. And I think that some of them are, like you said, like they're being enabled. You know what I mean? And that's, what I always found interesting is rock bands who were notorious for starting really late. Starting the show really late. And it was almost like this weird power trip or whatever, but they would be in the green room, or they would be doing rock star stuff in the green room, and they
use your imaginations.
Yeah. And it's like the show's supposed to start in 5 minutes, and they're aware they're not going to be ready for like another hour. And they don't care that there's thousands of people out there waiting for them.
That's crazy.
It's just unbelievable to me. And then you have other performers who are there not only on time, but they just always want to go above and beyond and stuff. Like I've never been, again, I feel like I have to keep saying this. I'm not a Swiftie. There's a couple of her songs in her catalog I think are awesome. I think she's a great singer. I've never been to a concert, but I've heard that she puts on one heck of a concert.
Did you ever watch? They actually recorded one of her last shows on the Eras tour, and it's on Disney Plus.
Is it?
And I watched the whole thing, and it was absolutely insane. I'm in the same boat. I like her music, not huge Swiftie or anything like that, but watched that, and she went for hours. Her stamina is insane, by the way. Costume changes happened in milliseconds. I don't understand. And she just goes and gave everything, left everything on the stage of herself, for this 2-hour show. It was insane.
Wow.
And I've had, ever since I watched that, and anybody that's been to one of her Eras tour shows live, I know Gemma actually went, and when she went to the UK, she went to a Taylor Swift Eras show, and she can probably attest too. It's insane how much they give and don't, and they're humble about it.
Yeah.
We're talking about two completely opposite sides of this coin. There's anything in life, you can go the wrong way or you can go the right way.
Yeah.
And I think we've seen enough of some people to see, oh, they're proving that you can actually get famous and handle it
and maintain your humility and be grounded.
And I feel like, again, you don't know.
We don't know these people.
There's a kind of parasocial relationship kind of like thoughts.
We don't
know
these people at
like
all.
We have no idea what they're like. Maybe when the camera's on, they're a perfect angel, but when the camera's off, they're the devil.
Right.
Like who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah, we don't know. Like none of us know. And it's the bottom. I mean, it could be that if Taylor Swift like walked in right now to be on the show, it could be at the end of it, you're like, dude, she was everything I thought she'd be. She's very, very sweet and kind and easy to work with. Or it could have been the other side, been like, whoa, how has she been hiding that little demon? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, who knows? We don't know these people. And for the record, I imagine she's probably very, very sweet. I don't know. But I think you're right. I think that, I mean, people are people and people are individualistic. And I think that some people can fame, they're going to be more susceptible to something like fame tainting, not tainting who they are, revealing who they are. You know what I mean? It's almost, you know what it's almost like, dude? You know what it's almost like, dude? It's almost like alcohol. Have you ever seen when you just like somebody, everybody knows that person, they drink and then it's like, that's who you are. Yeah. It's like that's who you are. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like fame does something similar. It gives them a same sort of dynamic of invincibility, and they just become who they are, right? And it's who knows? That's another psychological aspect. It
is interesting to see like what certain things can do to a person's brain. Yeah, like you said, like a little bit of alcohol, and you're more loosey goosey. You're more just like. You all those like things that you would like normally stop yourself from doing because it's not right or whatever is out the window. And like fame also lifts those like bars as well. It feels like for some people. Not all. Like I said, I had to check myself, and it was very small scale. And I was like, oh wow. Oh yeah. Okay. I can see now how this like kind of like can go to people's heads, because it's happening to me. I'm acting like an idiot. What's happening?
It's crazy. Like in those little, I will say this. I think for me, so first of all, I think who I am, like if I have more alcohol than I should, which for the record is these days phenomenally rare, but if I have more alcohol than I should, I'm a hugger in real life, and it's bad if I have a little bit too many beers because I'm going to hug everybody. You know what I mean? And you're getting a big old hug from me. And that's just that's who I am as that person. Right. But when it comes to like the fame thing, I'm very flattered by a lot of the very nice things that people have to say. When let's take TwitchCon, for instance, right? But I don't know what it is. I got to get over it or something. But some of these people are saying things to me that is very, very kind. They're very kind words. And it's not just, I think that you're great. They give me their wonderful stories of what I've done for them. And I've never met them. You know what I mean? But apparently with the things that I've done and it means a lot to me. Let me be very straight, but it really drives home what an unbelievable fraud I feel like all the time. And I remember I can go way back, way before YouTube. I was at a music camp and I did a drum solo at this music camp. And in that one drum solo, I became famous in that little camp. It was like 2,000 people, but I became famous in that little teeny tiny camp. And it got to a point to where when I would come around the corner of a hallway, people would literally part ways from me. And I hated it. I remember I hated it, and I was only like 17, and I hated it because I felt so stupid. You know what I mean? And they were like, and I was a nice guy, and I remember this one girl was with her friends, and I came around the corner and ran, and she was like, "Oh my God, it's you!" And it was like this really nice moment. And she's like, "Every drumline in the world needs like 10 of you." It was a very sweet thing to hear. I'm also very familiar with what the best drum lines in the world are. And I wasn't it, you know what I mean? So now it's driving home how much of a fraud I feel like. And I was like, and I said to her, I'm like, that's really sweet. What do you guys play? And then she's like, and then one of them's like, oh my God. And he's super humble too. And it was like this moment, I was like, okay, now I'm feeling pompous even more. Like it's like that false humility is what it's coming off as. And I remember I was like, I don't think I'm built for this because right now I'm just want to run away. That's all I want to do is I want to run away because I just felt, I don't think I'm built for it. You know what I mean? It's like the better I'm doing, the more of a fraud I feel like. It just gets worse and worse. The more I'm in a lose-lose situation here, dude. The more successful I get, I'm going to feel worse and worse about myself. That's not true, but there's a degree of truth to that. You know what I mean? So in a way, I think I'm not built for it, but from a different angle. Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah. It is weird being put up on a pedestal, at any time by anyone, by any measure. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like when people start to like look up to you and you definitely don't feel like you're someone that needs to be looked up to or should be looked up to. You know what I mean? Like definitely can feel like a fraud. I've heard, I think it was Jem that once said like never meet your idol.
Meet your idol.
Yeah. Somebody said like you should never meet your idols because no matter what, they're going to let you down. And that's not saying like all idols are bad people. It's saying most of the time in our heads, we have built our idols up so much that no matter how good they are of a person, they're going to fall short of what you imagine, of what you put them up on that pedestal.
Sure.
I mean, one, you should probably try not to put your idols up on a pedestal, right?
Yeah.
But that's the human nature. You know, when we see somebody and we they're famous and we respect their craft and what they're doing, we're going to do that just naturally. And then when you get to meet them, if you've got them way up there and you find out, oh, they're actually just a normal person, because guess what? Spoiler alert, we're all normal people, like it will fall short of expectations. I'm pretty sure it was Jem that said that, like, never meet your idol because you're always going to be disappointed.
You're going to be let down.
And sometimes they're actually jerks and you're going to be really disappointed.
That would really suck. Yeah. And that's what's so funny is that like my favorite singer in the world is Maynard James Keenan, singer of Tool. And I've never met him and I've never met anybody who's met him, but people have stories that he's a super jerk. I don't think so. I don't know him, but I'd be lying if I said to you, there's a big part of me that kind of wants to never meet him. But for the record, if I did meet him and he was a jerk, I'd actually be fine with it. I'd be like, whatever. I think you're amazing. You know what I mean? It wouldn't bother me because I think he's just that amazing.
Because you've refrained on putting him on the pedestal to the level that you understand he's still going to be human and
he's a person,
and also probably deling with a lot of stuff. We all are.
Yeah, exactly.
You think about it, like let's say, for instance, we are leaving TwitchCon at the end of the day, and we are supposed to be at a dinner with our friends or whatever, and we're late, right? Mm-hmm. And we're walking fast out of the doors, and meanwhile, there's a group of people that we walk past that see us and they recognize us, and it's like, hey, can we get an autograph and picture? And let's just say, this has happened and we stopped, but let's just say for whatever reason, like we just can't. We have to be somewhere. Like we can't take the time to stop, and we know
we're already late.
And we know what sometimes can happen too is next thing you know, it's a whole line and we're stuck, right? But we just can't. We're like, sorry, we can't, and we go. Right? In their minds, right then, we're the jerks.
Yes, dude.
Right? And so it could be easy to also like not fully have a picture of like what's happening in situations. And like you tell us, and the reason I'm thinking about this because, okay, some people have reported that Maynard can be a jerk. Well, maybe he had to poop. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You don't know what's going on in everybody's life. And like people are so quick, especially with like the social media age and stuff, to like throw that kind of stuff out there without a full realization of what's happening. They just get this perception based off an encounter that who knows what was actually going on. Yeah. And now that gets spread that he's a jerk because he had to poop.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Because people make their decisions based on the smallest bit of data, and those decisions become huge convictions. Like they lean all the way in. And so now it's like, you don't really even have a prayer. You know what I mean? I've actually seen people not know something and say, what's going on? And they're asking what's going on to somebody whom they've never met. And the person whom they've never met gave them a quote unquote answer. And the person who originally didn't know anything now knows everything. So you just received one sentence from somebody who you've never met about a topic you know nothing about. And all of a sudden you have an actual disposition on this. And that's the world we live in.
Yeah.
And it's blowing my mind because when it comes to fame, like people who are actually famous, like not you and I, people who are actually famous, they don't have a prayer. They don't have a prayer anymore, dude. And it's like, no matter what, why even try? Why even try?
We were literally listening to this song this morning because I blast AJR in the studio while we're setting up for the podcast and stuff. And the lyrics are, where my haters, I ain't got none, I'm not famous. Right? Those are the lyrics to this song.
Yeah.
And it just got me thinking like even at our level that happens, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that, you know, if you again times it by 100 or whatever your scale is, like the amount of stuff that famous people have to deal with.
Yep.
And you know, obviously the world unfortunately like clings to drama, clings to negativity. That's why media pushes that more than positivity, it seems. And so that spreads a lot faster. Hate spreads faster than love, unfortunately. Which I really hope we can find a way out of that cycle soon. Because like I sometimes just wonder if we weren't ready for the internet. And
we weren't. There's the answer. I have your answer.
Like there's a whole nother. Like that's a huge topic. And I don't feel educated enough to like really dig into that from like a psychological standpoint and everything else. But we've seen it. You know, even at our scale, we've seen some hate. You know, I get comments and stuff that get under my skin, and you know, things happen, and like imagine having to deal with that on an exponential level. Like the amount of, if I was that rich and famous, I think I would literally hire somebody to block me from the hate, like a human shield that like somehow like goes through all the comments and like removes them from whatever, you know, I could see, because I feel like there would be so much that it would eventually get to me. Like it would make me feel like I am what they say I am.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Even though I'm not, you know what I mean? So that's gotta be really, really rough. I can't imagine dealing with that.
And they can't even go outside. They can't go outside. They can't go in public. You know what I mean? They couldn't go. Imagine this, dude. Take somebody who's famous, very famous, and they want to go to dinner. Nothing's going wrong. There's no scandals. They just want to go to dinner, and they know they're just going to get stared at the whole time. You know what I mean? And that's okay. That's what it is, man. You know, you got super famous. That's what it is. Now, let's take that person, and there's a scandal going on, and it's maybe the scandal is complete horse crap, right? It could be completely made up. I'm giving a hypothetical here. It could be 100% made up. It's 100% a rumor, but to thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of people, it's not a rumor. Mm-hmm. It's fact, because I'm going to sound brutal here because I'm sorry, but their brains are working poorly and they received an extremely limited amount of information and they just leaned all the way in. And now that person is somebody that they hate. And now that person tries to go to dinner. Before they couldn't go because everybody saw them. Now they actually can't go because it's dangerous. Yeah. You know what I mean? And now it's a whole different level. I'm be honest with you, dude. I'll ask you, I think I know my answer. I do not want to be uber famous. I don't want to be Taylor Swift famous. I don't want to be that famous. Like, I think I know for a fact, I don't ever want to be that famous, and likely not even near it, not even close to it. So let's have a frequency here. If I'm getting recognized in public once every 6 weeks, which by the way, it's gone longer than 6 weeks before. I'm just averaging out because, like we said, like 2 weeks will go by, I got recognized like 5 times, and then like 3 months will go by and it didn't happen at all. That's a rate I can handle, right? So let's turn the dial. What if it was being like every 2 weeks? Could I handle that? Yeah, I can handle. That's fine. What if it was once a week? That's fine too. That's okay. Well, what if it was once a day? What if every time you went out, you were going to be recognized at least once a day? That's getting there. You know what I mean? You want to know the truth? I was at the airport and I had a Kleenex and I cleaned my nose because I'm a person, and it was like the allergies were getting to me. And I'm like, if anybody around here is videoing me right now, they could have gotten one hell of a freeze frame. You know what I mean? And that's what these celebrities live with all the
Skizzleman
time.
picks his nose.
Exactly,
Extra. Read all about it. Yeah.
Unfortunately, that picture would go viral.
Yeah.
Not viral. I'm saying a picture like that for an actual celebrity would go viral. So these people can't do anything.
Yeah.
They can't do anything that's like every second of every minute, they have to be aware that they're probably being filmed. If I'm on like TikTok or something, and for the record, you may not believe me what I'm going to say, and everybody listening is going to be like, bull crap. I promise this is the truth. I promise this is the truth. And it wasn't always the truth, but this is a practice, and I'm encouraging everybody to adopt this. If I'm scrolling and I come across a celebrity and could not be clearer that they're being videoed against their will, not even against their will, but without their knowing.
Right.
Like if they're at a beach and it's very clearly somebody who's like, oh, look, that's so-and-so. And they take a film of it. And then I scroll away from it as quick as I can. And I say out loud, not my business. And I do it because I'm like, maybe I can contribute a little bit to fight the algorithm.
You're trying to tell the algorithm, stop showing this.
Stop showing,
especially to me, but
stop.
This bad.
Yeah. So I will say this, I get those now almost never because I've gotten so good at just like, nope. And I'm like, not my business, because you can just tell right away if it's a movie set and they're filming a movie, come on, that's fine. But if they're on vacation, or especially when they're with their kids, their family, that's when I'm like, not my business, like as quick as I can. And I would love to just push that as a norm for as many people as possible to do that, because I can't even put into words how much I hate the paparazzi. I hate the paparazzi, dude.
Do you think they're responsible for Princess Diana's death?
That's
a huge.
That was a big one. That was a big one. And the fact that the paparazzi did not go away after that was kind of telling that from a sociological standpoint, we choose entertainment over life. And because
there's a lot of conspiracy theories and stuff out there. I don't know what to believe on that, but that was kind of what I understood at first, was like paparazzi was like too up in the business and actually caused like the accident.
Yeah,
right?
they pursued. They were in pursuit. And here's the deal. I don't know if that's true or not. What I do know is that for a big moment there, the masses all thought that the paparazzi was kind of indirectly responsible for Princess Di's death. That was a true statement. That's a true sentence. They all thought. So if they all thought they were, how did the paparazzi live through that? You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If they all thought they were, how'd they live through that? They lived through it because from a sociological standpoint, we choose entertainment over life. Like that's what it felt like to me anyways. And you just see all these clips of paparazzi just camping outside of somebody's domicile. Like they're outside of their home in the bushes and stuff. And it's like, how is this legal? You know what I mean? It's like, well, they're not on their property line. It's like, yeah, but they're crossing a line that we all know exists in our heart, and they know they're doing it. And then some people are like, well, famous people, they chose to be famous. They asked for this. And I've always, ever since I was a kid, I'm like, no. That literally a right to privacy should not be something you have to sacrifice to be a famous person. Yeah. And they intermingle them. Like, if you're famous, you no longer have privacy. Can we just be better than that as people? Can we just be better? Let them have lives?
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of like, okay, what would be my frequency?
Yeah, what's your frequency
of getting recognized before I was like, oh, I don't want this anymore. Because I actually right now with the frequency I have, I quite enjoy it. I know there's got to be boundaries, right? There's got to be boundaries. There's this time and place for everything. And I think everyone's going to have different boundaries as well. Because I mentioned, like, I was at my daughter's volleyball game. That's my daughter's volleyball game. Like, she was literally about to play, and I was okay with it. And I think that I'm just like, my boundaries are probably far less than they should be, maybe. Like, I don't want anybody to ever feel bad for coming up to me, but
right.
but I would hope that they would at least assess the situation, the time and place, and realize, like, if my daughter was like in the middle of her game and they're like literally playing, and he came up to me and was like, hey, I know you want an autograph, and I'm missing my daughter's game, that's going to bug me. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in between games, that's okay. Now, some other people might be like, no, I'm with my family. Don't bug me when I'm with my family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I get that too. And maybe I do need to have a higher boundary for that, but I don't, because like, I still just find it kind of cool that
it is cool.
Like, if I ran into somebody that I, put up on a pedestal, they were somebody I, whatever, enjoyed their entertainment or whatever. And I ran into them, like I would probably be too nervous, first of all, to come up to them, because I know if I did, I'd just be like, "You changed my life." Yeah.
Get over that.
But like, if I did see a situation to where it's like, okay, that person obviously is like with his family, they're very focused on this, I wouldn't want to bother them.
Okay.
And I feel like I would do that, or I'd at least wait for an opportunity to where I wouldn't bug them. But like, if it got to the point to where people were constantly crossing my own boundary, which admittedly is small, then I would probably have a problem. And so far that hasn't happened.
Yeah.
So I can't really say, as long as people continue to be cool about that, I think I could handle it for even daily. But once boundaries are like crossed and I literally can't have any peace, and they're like interrupting me, my family, and like causing me to miss things, or it gets frustrating in any way, then yeah, I'd probably be in the same boat. Like, no, I don't want this. But it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, and that's just it. Well, that's what's interesting is that if you saw somebody who you admired and you realized they were in a spot that you'd be like, I don't think I'd want to be bothered right now. I'm going to go ahead and not bother them. Well, we have to entertain that. That's probably likely happened several times. You just don't know because they didn't bother you, right?
Have you ever seen somebody double take when you're in public and wonder?
Yes, I have seen that.
Yeah, me too.
I've had people say in the past, like whether it was in chat or on Twitter or something, somebody's like, "Skizz, I saw you at this store, and I was in another state, and I had mentioned that, like, and I saw you in this store on this day, and I was like, I was in that store that day, and they were like, I just didn't want to bug you, and I was like, but that's okay, bug me. I'm not famous. You can come up and say hi if you would like to. You know what I mean? And there's almost no situation I'm been in to where I'd be like, listen, now's not the time. I can say that I'm at 100% of the time, and it might just be the type of crowd that is drawn to us. 100% of the time I've been engaged, it's been unbelievably lovely.
Yeah,
they have been so respectful. Yeah. They've been not wanting to stay there for an hour like that. You know what I mean? They realize, what I would like to be better at, I don't need them to be better at anything. I need to get better at it because I still don't know how to handle it. I was in the airport walking with my family through the airport, all the luggage. We were about to get on a plane, and one of the workers there was crossing paths with me, and he goes, "You're Skizzle Man." I'm like, "Yeah, yep." And then he just stared at me for like 10 seconds, and I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Because I was like, here's the deal.
I've been there too.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
I got a story about that. It's a good one.
I don't know what to do because I don't want to be dismissive, first of all. That's the number one thing. I don't want to be dismissive ever. I am always fine giving a picture and an autograph. Always fine. I'm not fine asking if you want one because then I feel really arrogant. Mm-hmm. Yes, I am Skizz Man. Would you like a picture with me? That just feels weird. Yeah. So I'm kind of waiting for them to ask because they might not actually want one, first of all. But I'm kind of waiting. So now I'm just like, okay, well, big gulps, huh? All right, see you later. You know what I mean? And we're like, okay, bye.
I understand what they're going through too, because I've been there. So yeah, that awkward, I don't know what to do now. I'm literally staring at this person I thought I would never see or meet in person. Yeah. You just don't know what to do with yourself sometimes. Had that happen in my wife and I this is another one where it's like, are you sure they're not crossing a boundary? But I was cool with it, just for the record. I was with my wife, and we were going out to dinner for our anniversary, mm-hmm. and we were at our anniversary dinner, and the waitress recognized me. Mm-hmm. And so, and she was cool. She waited till we were done and with our full dinner, and we were like getting ready to leave. And as we were like kind of our way out, that's when she's like, your impulse, right? I watch your videos and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. And then there was that 10-second nothing, right? and my wife who was with me, was like, do you want me to take a picture for you?
Oh,
like
she did it.
she broke the ice because I was just as frozen as this waitress was. I was literally just as frozen because I was in a place I did not expect to get it to recognize.
Yeah.
You know, because it doesn't happen that often. And so I literally also didn't know how to carry myself. And my wife, thankfully, was like, do you want me to take a picture? And so she got to do the part. I didn't have to be arrogant about it. Do you want me to take a picture with you? My wife did it for us and then took the picture and everything was fine.
That's
and
so
to this girl's credit too, we went back multiple times to this place because it was so good.
Yeah.
And she was there again and again. And she never once came back up to us or never even like
pretended
stared,
that you guys were close.
Never like stared, never
Yeah.
nothing. Did not make it uncomfortable in the slightest.
Yeah.
And like that's really cool. So yeah, we've been really lucky to have very understanding and great, and I hate using this word, fans.
Yeah.
But like TwitchCon, we went out on the floor that one time and a line formed without any sort of
planning.
nothing.
Yeah.
Their security didn't have to make it happen. They just did it. They stood in a line and they
so
waited
organized,
and they were so like super respectful, and they could see like, do you guys need water or anything? Like a lot of people were looking out for us and stuff. And it was like so nice to see. And maybe it's just because like when you get to a certain level that may change. I don't know. Like the fanatics
it could be
come out.
Yeah.
But right now, like everyone's been super cool. So my boundaries have been pretty limited.
Yeah. You want to know what's interesting, dude, is the story you just told about the waitress I found very interesting because I was at dinner with my wife and my brother and his wife. This is a while ago. And it was the same story where our waiter knew who I was and he waited till everything was paid. And I had paid the tab and I tend to tip pretty well. But he came up and he wanted to shake my hand. And I was like, well, I don't tip that well. You know what I mean? I tip above average, but I don't tip enough for a post-meal engagement. And he goes,
I like the way you put that, man. Okay, continue on.
He comes up and he's like, hey, he goes, I just want to tell you, I'm a huge fan of your work. And I was like, oh. And he goes, honestly, the podcast, he goes, the Minecraft videos, I love everything that you do. And he goes, your videos mean a lot to me. And I shook his hand. I'm like, that means a lot to me that you told me that. I really appreciate that. Thank you, man. And he's like, okay. And it was like, maybe the healthiest interaction I've ever had. You know what I mean? Like I said words, they said words, like it was so like, but I want to be better on how to manage because when the thing happened at the airport, my daughter was cracking up like you're Skizz. Yep. See you later. And my daughter was like, well, that was weird, Dad. Like she was blaming me, She's like, well, you didn't handle that.
Weird, Dad.
I know.
Handle fame better. Gosh.
I didn't know what to do. And this is something I want to actually get better at. Maybe I just need to swallow my own pride and just go ahead outright assume that they would like an autograph and a picture. Just assume
I'm going to start walking up to random people in the grocery store and ask them.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah. Hi, how's it going? You want my autograph?
You want my autograph?
I'm semi-internet famous in my niche. So you definitely
just write it on their arm.
Yeah.
It's
funny, dude. Like way back in the day, the first Minecon Tango I ever went to was like in Orlando in 2013, and we were very, very small channels.
Yeah.
Like not even 100,000 subscribers yet. Like very small. We were just starting out, and we were in the Minecon, and like 2 people there at the total Minecon may have knew who we were, and they came up to us.
Yeah.
And that was like our first ever. Like, oh my God, we made it. Somebody wants our autograph. You know what I mean? Here's the weird thing that happened. Like I said, 2 people in the whole place probably knew who we were. A line formed of more than 2 people. Like,
interesting.
A line formed. Literally, it was this mentality of people are getting that person's autograph. They must be famous. Therefore, I want their autograph. People didn't even know who we were.
Really?
And they were standing in line. And that was the biggest, like, what is happening here kind of moment.
Yeah.
Like, they're literally just standing in line because they saw other people standing in line. And we're not that, like, They don't even know who we are.
That's bizarre.
They're like, hey, how's it going? You're like a YouTuber, like or something, you know? And they're asking us who we are, and I'm like, why'd you stand in line?
Yeah,
if you don't know who we are, we were so confused.
That
it was like
weird.
such a weird mentality. But
I wonder if that happened because I remember 2016 was my first event I ever went to. I was exactly nobody, but I was enough of a somebody or whatever. It was 2016 Minecon. That when you and I had gotten up to go out, you threw me a marker for signing autographs. I'm like, oh, I won't need this. And you're going to need this. Like you were like, I was here last year. You're going to need this. Like there was like a little bit of annoyance as in I was there because you had told me in the previous year, you said you have to, there's a lot of people asking about you. You got to come next year. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, it was to the point to where I was like, little miniature lines would form and it was very, very touching. But now you got me thinking. I wonder how many people. What if they didn't even know? They were just like, oh, this big goofy guy signing stuff. I should probably get that.
You want my autograph? Yeah. What's my name?
You
quiz him.
Why don't you tell me what I'm going to write down? No, but that's. I am enjoying the ride. I want to keep it. I think that in regards to there being levels of fame, you and I are above the 0. Right. And if the 0 to 100 and Taylor Swift being 100.
I'm still going to say semi-internet famous in my niche.
Yes. I literally put us at like a 5 out of 100. Yeah, right. Yeah. Like there's a teeny tiny degree of fame here. But that 5 it's fine with me, man. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I kind of like it. And any higher I think is okay, but not too much higher. I think like the everyday thing. If I couldn't go out in public, knowing I was going to get recognized at least once every day, I think I know I wouldn't like that. And I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because I'm just so self-conscious in regards to I'm just a big goofy guy that I'm like, they're going to capture a really, you know what I mean? Like where are they going to
just never pick your nose, even at home.
What if I give my wife a little smack on the butt?
Oh, no, right? I can't do that in public.
I like her butt.
I'm just kidding. I mean, like, I don't know. Sometimes, like, if you do think about it and you wonder, like, oh, is there going to be people in this building where potentially somebody might know me? You know, would you carry yourself any differently than your normal everyday life?
Yes. Yeah. The observer effect is a scientifically proven thing, and I am not immune to it.
Yeah, it's not like I think about it like every time I leave my house, I'm like, oh, I wonder if somebody's going to recognize me today. But there are moments where I'll see somebody like double take, and I'm like, they might have recognized me and not want to come up to me because I'm in the grocery store or whatever. Yeah. And so maybe I'll make sure I look okay, fix my hair, smile a little bit more, whatever. I don't know.
I think I would. And you know what's funny is I went line dancing I went country line dancing with my wife and my daughter because that's what they wanted to do. So let's go do it. And I'm not really a country fan, even though I like some country. I'm definitely not a line dancing fan. But what I know is that my wife and my daughter want to do this with me. So we're gonna do it, and it's gonna be great. I'm also, dancing in general, I don't necessarily like to do, even though my wife swears I'm a good dancer. I feel goofy. You know what I mean? I feel goofy. I got this weird body. I'm super tall, and country line dancing is just did not feel like, whatever. So I was like, I'm glad it's dark in here. You know what I mean? Like now I can just completely get that out of my head. Well, I guess I can. Because we were like getting towards the end of the night, and this really sweet girl comes up. She was early 20s, and she was so cute, dude. She's like, are you? So funny. And I was like, go ahead. And she's like, are you Skizz? I'm like, I am. She's like, oh my God. You know what I mean? Because that's one of those things that, celebrities, I'm not a celebrity, but celebrities look different in person, and they always have, but not so much anymore because HD has really changed the game. Back when it was standard definition, if you saw a famous person, it was jarring. You know what I mean?
But the camera still had 10 pounds.
They did. Well,
let's just make that clear.
That's right.
Like definitely thinner than what you're looking at. Right.
So she goes, are you? And I'm like, go ahead. And she's like, are you Skizz? And I said, I am. And she goes, oh my God. And she's like, I'm kind of a big fan. I'm like, thank you. That's cool. And she goes, can I get a picture? Is that totally inappropriate? I'm like, not at all. You know what I mean? So I went to, and my wife and my daughter were like 30 feet away. We were, I think, about to leave. And I think my daughter was like, who's he talking to? And that's right. My daughter thought that this young girl was asking me to dance.
Oh my gosh.
Right. And
she comes in there in the middle of it. You don't do that to my dad. You're not talking to my dad.
Well, what's funny is
he's married.
It's amazing how instantly Pups knew nobody's hitting on my husband. You know what I mean? That's one of his viewers. Yeah. No, but my wife is like, she goes, no, that's looks like that's probably one of his viewers. And my daughter's like, oh, cool. And then she saw the pictures like, oh, it definitely is. And and the girl was very, very sweet. It was a quick picture. And then, she was, and like I said, it goes back to did she feel like how many people have seen us and been like, I'm just not, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Because she was like, is this totally inappropriate? I'm like, no, because she was like, I know you're, obviously you're here with your family. And she was worried that it was inappropriate. And I'm like, but here's what they don't know. It happens so infrequently that is, as of this moment, it's pretty much never inappropriate. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure there's moments it could be. But
I thought it was a little inappropriate that she posted you line dancing on TikTok. But
that's what I was worried about.
No, I'm just kidding.
That's what I'm saying.
That didn't happen.
That's what's crazy, dude, is I was convinced I was going to find my goofy ass line dancing on TikTok somewhere. And I'm like, okay, I'm so grateful that, she didn't film anything.
Like, by the way, okay, you didn't record me, right? And if you did, even if you watched me line dance, can we just like Men in Black pen?
Yes.
Everybody erase that memory.
Please forget what you just saw.
Yeah.
That was embarrassing. So I'm just saying that I like the level of fame that we're at. Maybe it's a 5. I like where I'm at, and I just leave it there. And if it gets higher, that's okay too. But there is probably a level that I'm gonna be like, I think I might pull back a little bit or something. I have no idea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know if you saw Joel, like during an MCC or after an MCC, he gave a speech about how he's not your friend, like addressing kind of like parasocial activities, I guess. Is that the right word? Yeah. Where like, I guess, just addressing like people like, hey, just because you watch my videos and stuff doesn't make us friends. Like he went on a bit of a rant about it, and it got a little bit of backlash. And it was so funny because I saw on like Twitter or something, people like, if you had an issue with Joel saying he's not your friend, then you're the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think at a certain point, like you might have to kind of like I say right now, my boundaries are pretty thin. You know, like I don't have a huge boundary like for people to worry about like coming up to me or whatever. But like maybe if it did continue to be more and more, my boundaries would probably get a little bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows? But I think I'd be okay with a little bit more.
Yeah, I would too. I would too. I would. I'm happy where it's at. I'm fine if it got a little bit more. But I genuinely, this is going to sound pathetic, but I feel for celebrities who are uber famous.
Yeah, me too.
I really do, especially the young ones, man. You know what I mean? And I don't know with the kids thing. I just want I don't know what kind of regulations are in place, but I don't know. I've always been neurotic about protecting kids.
I think more awareness is happening though.
I hope so.
With awareness usually means if there's issues that they will work on fixing them.
Yeah.
You would hope. Right?
Yeah.
There's enough good people in this world that would be like you wanting to look out for these kids and implementing policies and procedures and stuff to help make sure they're safer.
I can dig that. So I'll tell you, if you see us in public, come say hello. Come say hello. It's fine. I know that there's people probably watching right now, or at least some of you out there been like, I have seen them in public at one point. I just didn't want to go bother them. You're never going to bother me. It's ever. And I enjoy it. I enjoy saying hello and shaking hands and taking pictures and signatures. I enjoy it. Yeah, so does he. And so if there's ever a moment, but I will say this, if you want to come, at least know what you're going to say. Don't just stare at me. Cause I don't know what to do. You know what I mean? I'm a person. I don't know how to run the show. Like when you come up to me and the staring thing. I just wish I was better. And I'll take that hit and admit that I'm not good at it. So I'm going to need you to lead a little bit on the dance. Right?
And also assess the situation. Like I said, if my daughter's in the middle of a game or something, then yeah, probably not the right time, but I'll be around after, just assess the situation. Use your best judgment as of a human.
God, it's so hard being so famous.
All right, hold on. I learned a quote the other day from Pearl. My steak is too juicy and my lobster is too buttery. We're complaining.
That's why my wife said that to me.
Did she?
Yes, she must have been watching Pearl.
Yeah.
Okay.
I learned that one from Pearl the other day, and it's so funny. Yeah, here we are. Our steaks are too juicy, our lobster's too buttery. Man, it sucks to be us.
No, it's wonderful. All right. You guys are awesome. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.